What's going on, guys? It's your boy Rick Rico. Welcome back to the Ozone. Before we enter the art of conversation, I want to entice everyone that's watching. Please subscribe. If this is the second time you've been here, you got to subscribe now. If this is the first time, check us out, but subscribe. And Dennis is going to let you know who we have.
And Rick, thanks again, bro, for, the set, for all the work you do. Today we're going to hop right into it, man. We have a very special guest today, man. Jonathan Pitallo, none other than, he's a young entrepreneur, man, here in KC, is just, doing a lot of groundwork in real estate. He has a group of 20 plus agents, Vive in KC. He's also president and CEO of Vive Promo Print, and he is an educator. He is a connector, and he is just a force to be reckoned with here in the community, man. He is connected to many networks across the Kansas City metro, and you're starting to see this young man more and more everywhere, man. He's popping up, he's doing his thing, and I am so excited to have him here today, bro. I ain't afraid to say it, man. I'm gonna learn from this young man today. I tell you that.
Let's do it. Thank you. That was a hyped intro. Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
Jonathan, thank you for being here, man. I'm glad we were able to make it happen today, bro.
Yeah, let's do it. I appreciate you guys setting this up out of your guys' day, but thank you for the intro.
No, man. Hey, I can't wait to get into it, bro. I honestly, today, more than focusing on what you do, I want to focus on what's shaped you and focus on what you do, because I just think that it is pretty incredible what you have done. I remember you, Jonathan, from a networking event some years ago, where it was just, I met this just young, hungry kid that was really dreaming to do big things, and that to where you're at right now and the amount of time that you have done it, I think it's just this quantum leap, man. Or I'm curious as to how do you get here from there in that short of a period, man. So I want to get into that. I also want to talk about, some deeper things of, where you come from, who influenced you, and all those things, man. So we can start wherever you feel comfortable.
Thank you again. I really appreciate the hype up. I know we met at a networking event. I believe, if I'm not wrong, it was Big Brothers, Big Sisters, or Folklore. Either of those. I remember one of the biggest things was like, I need to get my business out there, so I need to meet everybody. And Dennis at the time, I remember shaking everyone's hands. Everyone knew him. I was like, well, I'm gonna go up to him like I know him too. And I walked in with some confidence. Dennis grabbed me, said, what's up? And I was like, I like him. I was like, he didn't even know me 100%, but he said hi to me.
Yeah, and man. So, I was deep in the network at a time when I come across, with you, and I was serving in the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I was hitting just about every event you can imagine, man. And that's really how I built the network, and I'm not as active anymore. I see you are very active still, and you're in multiple networks, but I do remember that just thinking, man, like how did kids get started so young? That's what I remember thinking at the time, because how do you know at 17 what you want to do, bro?
Right.
Like, that's insane.
And I didn't know. And so to me, that's why I went to go network, because they say, your proximity is your power.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the biggest things was like, well, if I know I don't want to be here anymore, or I grew up a certain way and I'm trying to strive to be like you guys, I probably should hang around people that are like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you asked me, how did I come about, or how did that shape me? I knew I needed to change my proximity.
Mm.
So I was like, I need to go to where they're at.
Right.
If they're networking, I'm networking.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I got a little business. It's all good, but I'm going to share it.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully there's that one person that's like, all right, let's take a chance on this kid and see what he's about, right?
Right.
And so really that was the whole mindset, because I knew like I already had barriers, which is like anyone that went to go shake their hand, they were going to take me serious.
But how do you know where to even start? And what event? Or, what network?
So I'll explain how I went about
What business?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's a hard one too. So a little bit of the story. So I started Viva Brand Co. in high school. It was a clothing brand. I went to Belton High School, which Rick also, you grew up here in Belton.
Yes, sir.
And so shout out Belton. But I grew up there, went to Belton. And long story short, I built a clothing brand. I made one because I didn't have money to buy the Jordans, the Nikes, or anything. All the kids were wearing that. I was like, well, I'm already left out.
Right.
So I said, you know what I'm going to do? I was like, I'm going to make my own. I was very artistic. I went to a Joann's nearby, got puffy paint, got a hoodie, and painted my logo, which was Vive. I just put the name and the font, and I said, that's it.
Wow.
Took it to school, and I sold it for $25. My classmates
Did you have buyers?
were buying them. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, man. I mean, I was a shy kid, but when people saw my hoodie, they're like, where'd you get that?
That's mine.
I was like, that's mine. Exactly. Yeah. I was like, that's mine. And they're like, I want that. And I was like, you want what? I was like, I want what you're wearing, that whole Nike tech suit. But anyways, long story short, that was my first taste of business. But then COVID came about, shut it all down. I couldn't sell any more puffy paint hoodies, but I knew businesses were out there also still continuing to do business. And so I said, you know what? What if I print? Technically, what I was doing was printing, even though I was doing it manually. I was like, why don't I print for other people? Well, I didn't have a printing machine, and I thought I could print at my house. I flopped, I failed. And where I'm going with this is that was my segue. Let me print, but I don't know how to do it. So I was trying to find someone that could print and then find a buyer that could buy my printing and make a margin.
Wow.
That was my whole business.
Wow.
But I was like, how do I find buyers? I already know who can make it. Where are buyers at? So I door knocked all on Minnesota Avenue and Central Avenue. Literally one day on a random Monday, door knocked, went in to like buy maybe a candy if I had money. Really didn't. I was there like, hey, is your manager, your owner here? And imagine I'm young, you know, people, I was like 17 and they're just like, no, he's not here. What do you need? Oh, I want to see if I can meet him so I could offer my services. They're like, we don't, but you could leave your card. Man, I didn't even have a card. So it was like, that's how I was learning, right? Life was telling me.
I am the card.
Dude, yeah, right, yeah, exactly. And so I was like, I'm right here. What you mean?
I'll wait for him.
Yes, I've done that. And so long story short, I was like, this doesn't work. And no one was calling me. I left a sticky note with my number, but I did some research and I was like, business owners find businesses at Chamber of Commerce. And so I was like, that's it. I'm going to go join one. And literally that day, I was 17. I'll never forget this. It was cold outside. I said, let me search it up. I saw it was on 10th Street in downtown, the Hispanic one, because I was like, I'm Hispanic. Let's just start there. I walk in and I literally tell Carlos at the time, I'm here for a membership. And imagine he's 17. I'm 17, sorry. And I'm asking him for a membership. I had no idea what I was doing.
Right.
Like nothing. And that's just kind of how it came about.
Right.
That was my direction.
Wow. That's, incredible. Right. But how did you know, let's say, to go door knocking, was anybody guiding you at the time? Was that pure intuition?
Pure intuition, really, because, you know, there's a saying that says no one's coming to save you, right? And so I knew no one was going to come look for my business. So I had to go promote it, right? Because same way with my clothing, right? I literally told all the kids in my school, hey, you want one of my hoodies? I'll do it in your favorite color.
Right.
And, you know, no, I didn't want one, but now that you telling me, sure. You know, and so they're like, how much? $25. And so, you know, I got a little taste of that. And I said, the principle of business, I'm like, can't change that much. You know, so I was like, I think if I do it this way, it should work. It took a long time. I did get some calls eventually from those business owners that remembered, or like the managers, but it wasn't like a tomorrow they're buying, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
What services were you selling?
So I still do them to this day. I have a printing business, and we have several employees now, but it's t-shirt printing, promotional products, stationery, so like flyers. And so now we serve school districts, corporate companies, and that's really our bread and butter now. We still work with like contracting companies, but we have like a minimum threshold now.
So you're printing flyers for these companies?
Yeah. So like, let's say, for example, you guys are a big, like, let's say roofing company or a big financial firm, and you guys have events. We'll package you like the trade show display, banners, everything, you know, stress balls, whatever, and then boom.
Gotcha.
And we supply it. And you know, nowadays I always tell this, now I say it confidently, back then I didn't want to. We don't print anything in-house.
Yeah.
We just broker it out. I have suppliers all over the world. All over the world, we have suppliers, and that's all we do.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man.
Coyote of products.
That's right. I like that.
Yeah, man. It's insane because, you know, as you're telling me this, right, where it was pure intuition, it just kind of leads me to even more curiosity about you, because I think, okay, if that was pure intuition, is that like an innate thing that is built in, or is that something that you learn, let's say, from like maybe your parents, or I don't know, is that something that you were taught, like maybe your parents were entrepreneurs and passed it on, or you broke a mold and you learned it yourself, type of deal?
Yeah, no. So my parents weren't entrepreneurs. So my mom, she single mom of 4. I know that she never gave up. She was always working, doing different jobs. My dad at the time wasn't present, but I did have, thankfully, my grandpa, grandma, aunt, and uncle, which I consider like the core that raised me. Because if my mom was working, one of them was taking care of me. So one thing I did realize was I didn't agree with everything they said, but where I did agree with, I took that. And everything that I didn't, I just said, I'm just set it aside. But one thing I knew is they were going to figure it out. If they didn't know something, they were going to figure it out. And so I think that's where it came from, like knowing, hey, someone told me no, but that no is just a redirection. And so I just kept going after it. My grandpa, he was always self-employed. So you could say maybe, he had that entrepreneurial spirit. But again, his biggest thing was like, I got to put food on the table. We have a place for us to stay at. Like he has to figure it out too. So I think that all came and gave me perspective. But to me, like business wasn't even a thought.
Did he ever have like a side hustle?
Who, my grandpa?
Yeah.
No, so that was what he was doing all the time, full time.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, so he didn't have really side hustles or anything. My uncle, he worked at restaurants, and then he started a painting company. And then again, basically same thing. He knew that he needed to find work. At first, he tried to just like announce himself with signs and stuff and waiting for the calls. But even then, I knew that wasn't right. I was like, well, that sucks. You're going to be home and, waiting for a call. I was like, no, this can't be. And so that's where I said, what I can control is me and my actions. Let me go find it. If they say no, great, cool, shake hands, we'll stay in touch.
Right.
That's it. And I think that's where I got it. Just seeing them continue to do their things in life.
Right. Just sort of this I'll figure it out mindset type of deal where, and that's very useful in this day and age. Like that's basically what it is about, right? It's just figuring things out because there's so many like tools out there at your, disposal that you can utilize, right? And we were just talking before this episode started on, how we're just transitioning and we're living in this time and this era where, the success curve is shortened by everything that's available now, but you have to figure it out, right? You have to figure out what's out there, what opportunities, and how to leverage those to be able to, get to where, a 17-year-old to now having all these possibilities, right? Now here at what, 22?
22, yes. Sir.
Yeah, man. So you've done a good job at that, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I think I agree with you. What you just said there is the success curve is easier, but it's just as harder because there's more competition, right? So I think about it like that all the time. Nowadays, our information's right here. We could ask on our phone, AI, we could call somebody in California and if we like what they're doing, we call them and they'll help us, right? But think about how many people are also thinking like that now too. So now all of a sudden, and we probably see it nowadays, with like everyone's doing podcasts, everyone's in real estate and wanting to flip, everyone's doing crypto, And so now it's just as hard to really get in, right? How accessible is it?
Right.
It's like private equity. Like, everyone's like, oh, we got to get into private equity now. But like, everyone's thinking about how accessible is it to be like, yeah, I'm in a private equity group.
Yeah.
It's just as hard. So, but I agree with that because like things have changed. And one of the things I mentioned was the only constant in today's world is change. We know something's going to be good for 2 months. Next week, it probably, es diferente. It's changed completely.
Yeah.
So how do you differentiate yourself in all of that? Whereas everybody is, trying to do that. Like what is the, I don't know, your one thing that you can say, this is how I separated myself or...
the way I do it is like, I wanted to be different because I was already different growing up. I was probably one of the only brown kids at my school, right? So like that was already being different. We didn't have that much money. That was already being different. So when I approached sales, I was like, well, everyone's going to be like, yeah, we should talk. We got the best products. We got the best rates or the best service. I was like, well, everyone says that. I was like, no, we're not even going to lead with that. I'm going to lead with value first, show you up front. And then if you really want to know behind the curtains, I'll show you even more. So you know there's more trust. Then we talk about doing business. And so I lead that with my content. I lead that when I do a consultation with my buyers in real estate, with printing. I'm like, look, here's some freebies. Send us your address. We'll ship it to you. Lead with that. And it usually puts the pressure on them. They're thinking like, all right, well, does he not want to like close this? Like, does he not want me to like pay here? Like, you know,
where do I pay it?
Yeah, exactly. They even get confused. And so it's almost psychological. And so that's what I've been able to do to really like, I like to read a lot. So I read a lot of books, how people think, how people consume, and just applying it into my business. So like, let's just give an example. Let's say you were wanting to buy a home with me and you want to invest. I'll literally give you the whole strategy that I'd do for you. And I let you take it without even saying you have to work with me. Think about how they're going to feel in the next 3 days. I'll give them a call in 3 days and I'll tell them, I'm going to call you in 3 days. Talk to your other realtor partners. They'll probably tell you something similar. They end up wanting to work with you because you instilled trust and value off the bat with no exchange of money.
You're offering that.
Yeah, that's similar to what we do with the podcasting, like with other podcasters. We're not trying to sell them nothing, but I like to keep a relationship with, you know, not competitors. I don't feel like they're competitors because I feel like, well, you know, us with podcasting, we're trying to build a network.
That's right.
And if I'm constantly connected with them, I'm interlinked in that system. So that relationship to me is important. And that's something that I feel like I do. And I've experienced with other podcasters that they give us information in terms of how to do something better. You know what I'm saying? To gain that trust.
Yeah. It's leading with value. Yeah. Because now, you know, they'll have your back. Let's say something went wrong. Hey, dude, yes, here you go. Or, hey, you know, I'm starting to do this. What software are you using? They give you all of it because we know at the end of the day, as people, we all want to move forward. But for whatever reason, our minds, the moment we see something, we're almost like, we feel competition and scarcity. We start to think negative. Like, oh, I don't want to tell him. He's going to put me out. It's like, no. You know, one of the things I've said, because I work with about 20 realtors now. We're about to be 25 here in the next week. We have some people moving. I've always said, I'm going to get old one day and I'm not going to know. And if I pour into these people so much, the moment that I need to raise my hand for help, they may grab it because they remember that moment that I helped them up too. And so we just exchange value. And so I try to lead with that as much as I can. And I think that's really why we've been able to see so much success early on.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. For real. I see the value. I see the collaboration, you know, and that's ultimately also how we kind of approach this whole thing, because you're right. It's just everybody's doing it. But what I noticed that like there is opportunity in collaboration, and that there is more things that we have in common than like differences. You know what I'm saying? And when we come together to do something, it's like there's new possibilities that actually opened up if you're open to it, and not, you know, get into this mindset of scarcity or this mindset of competition. You know, I said it before, man. It's like I just don't think that some of the old paradigms that, you know, used to apply back then are really relevant here in this day and age anymore. You know, I feel like your generation came to break those. You know, you guys are not about this you know, this Gen Z. I feel like you guys are not about this you know, sort of a greed mentality, you know, like capitalism driven by, you know, I feel like you guys are more into something being authentic, right? And value, you know, and, you know, not so much about like, you know, working like towards something that you don't really necessarily believe in. You know, purpose is big in this generation, you know, and so I definitely resonate a lot with you guys, with this generation, because I feel like I could learn. That's why I'm like, man, I could learn so much from this young group of people, and I'm like eager to try to want to know, like, what is it that they're doing? You know, how they figured out to shorten up the success curve. You know, because I'm an old timer right now, man. Like for real, for real. Like I'm getting ready to be 42, so I'm a millennial, or you will consider I'm on the tail end of the millennial. I mean, in another year or two, I probably would have been a Generation X. But you got the baby boomers exiting, the market, right? And so a lot of things are shifting, assets transferring, you got approximately $1.1 trillion dollars in assets going from the biggest generation that, has been recorded for the most part, right? Exiting the labor market and all these things. And so now you have, the next people in line, right? And you guys entering, and we're sort of like here in the middle, and all this technological changes shifting all at the same time. And that's why I step forward with curiosity, because I'm like, what are these young people doing that are changing the game so drastically?
That's right. No, I want to add real quick to that. I agree with that 100% because we're in a transfer of wealth. But think about it, right? Back then, you could pick up a Yellow Pages and, that lady that knows the lady to be able to get in contact with them. But now by the time you do that and reach out, you're beat by the guy that's calling all day long, that has 40 dialers in real estate, and he already got the contact, right? Mm-hmm. So us, traditionally, we know what we need to do, but they already won. And so that's how they get the property. And so that's why you see people in real estate, they're like, whoa, how did they get that lead?
Yeah.
Because they went, instead of kind of going to approach it in another mindset or another tactic, they beat them with data.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm telling people now is that's why you're seeing this young generation, because they're just jumping that like middle spot of like experience and people gatekeeping. They'll just jump to the data.
Well, I feel like this new generation is learning what's being put out in the world versus the old generation. They don't want to pick up ChatGPT. They don't want to understand it. They're tired.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's when that falls in line where he says that like the data is helping. The data helps me.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Yeah, that's right. It helps at the end of the day. And so that's what we're starting to see a lot. And so we also do see, especially like think about our ads. How many times people like Pepsi, Dr. Pepper, all these big companies, they're using stuff that's trending on TikTok for their new biggest ad. Mm-hmm. Or they're running with like Mr. Beast live streaming, instead of, paying like the actors that they usually pay a lot of money. Not saying they don't pay Mr. Beast, but, they're running with that because people want the more real, authentic, all that content where there's no like script. It's more like this. We're having a good convo and let's see where it goes, right? People want real people.
I feel like everything resets. And I feel like in terms of authenticity, there's a big reset button happening.
Yeah.
Because I feel like over time, especially with media, things start to get kind of fake, super scripted, by the book, no risk. And that's where things get, they get, what is it?
Stagnant, yeah.
Stagnant. Yeah. It's like, for example, I remember every time I'd see a podcast and there's a guest, it's like back then I was like, ooh, boo-hoo, they're going to promote something. They're there to talk and chat. And then they're going to be at the end, buy my book. It's like, oh my God, like you already knew that was
right. You see it coming from miles away.
That's what I told Dennis when we started this, because we wanted business to be a part of it too. And I was like, bro, let's not do a 2-hour marketing video.
Yeah. right. Exactly. Yeah.
Right. No, and we do here at the Ozone Lair Media try to steer away sometime from the product and the service and focus on the story.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what we try to capture, because I feel like that there's so much more value in the story than the service of the product.
No, it's because, our product is a story.
It really is. Your storytelling.
Your product is their product.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yes. Yeah. It's a storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's usually where we try to go to, so people can identify with you, so that people can actually understand, the men behind the work.
Yeah.
What brought you to that point, of being Jonathan Pitallo, right? Yeah. Because you didn't always start, it wasn't always there. And I think there's so many people can benefit from your story because you figured a lot of things out.
Also because there's people close to you that might know you, that might be like, dang, if he did it, I could do it too. Let me study him a little bit.
That's right.
You know?
And that's why I like to be an open book. Like I tell people, there was one of my mentors told me early on, if you don't ask, I can't share because I don't know what you need. He goes, but if you tell me, hey, I need this, then it's a whole different conversation. Yes, let's go about it this way, right? And so that's why, to me, my whole thing with social media, and even when I meet people, I've tried to be as approachable as I can. Because I've also met people in life where you can't even, they don't look approachable.
No.
You look like you can't talk to them or even say hi. So that's a barrier.
Well, there's
in sales.
gatekeepers.
Right, with that too. There's
Yeah,
ones. And so I've gone, and so what I try to do, where I was going with this, is I try to be very minimal. And Dennis mentioned it earlier. Hey, cowboy again, right? And he's like, you always wear that? I was like, I do. Boots, jeans, maybe a black shirt. I like to wear black. That's it. I don't keep it. I do love to dress, but for the most part, like, this is what I wear. Because this is, like, to me, someone else can come up to me and have a conversation.
Yeah.
But if I look intimidating to them, it's going to be like, especially that person that doesn't have that confidence right away.
Right.
And so, like, with the gatekeepers, like you mentioned, I've had people, I like to call people out. Like, I'll go up there and ask a question and they hit you with all this bluff. And I go back and I'm like, can you, yes or no? And then they're like, no. I'm like, great. Thank you. I appreciate it. Now I know where I need to go. It's not personal, but you at least need a sense of direction. And so that's why I always address the gatekeepers back to the gatekeeping like that.
That's cool.
No, I will. Like,
No,
but
that's
respectfully, humbly.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like gatekeeping is an old trade. You know what I'm saying? It comes from that older generation that they don't want to help you get above you.
That's right.
But you know what I mean?
Well, it's that this is some of, like I said, but some of the old paradigms and stuff of ways of thinking of
Privacy.
where no, not necessarily. It's almost like there has to be a rite of passage, and this rite of passage has to be years of experience and hard work.
Well, like George Lopez.
It's that.
You remember when George Lopez got flamed for Ralph?
Yes, I remember
Because he
that.
did, because he said he said that he got it easy or something like that because he didn't have to go through all that. But Ralph is new gen. Like he blew up on TikTok.
Yeah, and he's doing great.
And he's doing
watch his
great.
stuff. Yeah.
Right.
So like it's not that they didn't work hard for it. It's just there's shortcuts now, my boy.
Yeah.
And that's exactly, and that goes back to the success curve and the shortening of that gap, right? And in this whole idea of having to work all these years to gain what you like, earning what you deserve, type of deal. And I'm not saying, I'm sure you guys are working just as hard, but it's just you guys figured out a way to get there faster.
Right.
And you can't hate on that, man. Honestly, like I said, I'm curious. I'm stepping into this scene where we're, moving into, because there's a lot of things happening at a very, very high, high pace.
Right.
With curiosity. I'm just observing, you know, and I'm not afraid to learn, from people that are younger than me.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot we can do together, even cross-collaborate, and things that we can do to, create value, you know what I mean? But what I want to get into a little more is I want to get into challenges, right? Because I'm sure you've had them all, and that how do you overcome those challenges, and how do you mentally talk to yourself and get you to the next step, sort of? I don't know if that makes sense.
No, I know what you mean. I think really, in entrepreneurship and in life, think about it, in life, really, we can go to that point. It's all uncertain.
Right.
It's all uncertain. We don't know what the world's going to happen tomorrow or anything. So to me, I'm willing to bet on today and what I could do today, what I can control. And so early on, I remember my parents, I quit my job that I had, and they were like, "Are you crazy? You're getting paid good money at your age and you're quitting?" And I said, "Yeah." I was like, "This is the moment where I can afford the most risk and maybe get high reward." But when you hear your peers, back to the challenges, saying, "You're crazy, man, just go get the job. You got a car payment. You just bought a duplex. What are you doing?" I was just like, "No, man, I'm going to figure it out." But a lot of it is kind of back to the proximity. If you believe it 100% in your mind and your peers even believe it, that uplift you, you almost become it. And so that's what I've led with. Not only that, but obviously books. I read a lot of books, man. I'm very religious as well. And so God instills like this power from me, and I don't even go to, like, I'll be transparent to people. I'm not as close as I used to be, but knowing that I have like a spark almost in there that will lead with anything, that to me is everything. And it almost sounds cliche because everyone's like, there has to be like this formula. I'm like, no, it really starts with your mind and just putting it out there. Because starting really, because, you know, maybe when you started your own podcast, there's probably people like, you know, is he even going to get anyone to come on or can even, you know, but you were like, no, I got it. Yeah. I know what I'm getting into. And if I don't, I'll figure it out.
We're still there. We're still.
Right. We always are. Right.
We're still running on faith over here.
There you go. But like at the end of the day, like that's what it is. And so those challenges, I think they also build you.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but one of the biggest things that I will say is this. I used to think it was the reward, and maybe you guys could attest to this. I was like, once I get the car, I'll be happy. Once I get my next house, I'll be happy.
Yep.
Once I have my first 10 bands, I'll be happy. Yep. Then once you get to that first part and you look back and you're like, this ain't even right. And I ran into that real young, man, because I've been self-employed for about 4 years now. Thankfully, gracias a Dios, you know, we've been doing well. And every year I strive for something new and overcome challenges, and we do overcome them one way or another, but you're almost like, what's next? You know, and you realize it wasn't a goal, it's who you become and who you can continue to help.
When you say what's next, what do you mean? Like what?
Like what's next? Like, is it another car? Is it, you know,
what's the next goal?
What's the next goal, right?
Business or
or personal. And so to me, like, you know, I think those are more challenges. Staying in the game, because there's no like winning in life. Like, think about it. It's not a race to the bottom, you know, a race to the top. It's how can we stay in the game every day and feel good about what we're doing and helping others. And I think that's even in business and everything that we do. You know what I'm saying?
How do you, when you have a big goal, right? You set up a big goal. How do you structure that goal? Do you have micro goals to get you to that goal? Yeah. Or do you just think of the big ass goal?
No. So we start with, that's a good question because you actually answered it almost. So we start with the goal in mind to work backwards.
Okay.
Backwards engineer it?
Yep. Backwards engineer it. Yep. And so like start there. What would it look like? How would it feel like? And what can we do to just work backwards to get there? Because if not, you don't ever set up no tangibles or no checkpoints, really.
Right. You said something very important because I hear like coherence there. You're not only envisioning it, but you're also feeling it. Like the feeling that, and I heard that there's some science to that where actually declaring something, you know, with your word. You know, because they do say that, you know, in the Bible, right, the power of life and death is in the tongue.
That's right.
But when you ask for something, ask as if it's already been done, right? So that meaning that you have to feel this feeling. I'm actually reading this book right now. It's called the Moses Code.
Okay.
It's crazy because it talks about manifestation. And most people think that manifestation is just this crazy kumbaya, you know, type of deal where, you know, you're just, you know, visualizing. And you know, and it's not, you know, the law of attraction. This Moses Code is sort of like the extension of the law of attraction.
Yes.
And what the book is talking about, some of the stuff really resonated with me is the when you envision something, you also, besides declaring it, you have to feel it.
That's right.
And what you just said, you know, landed with me because of what I'm reading right now. But I just think that it's pretty powerful to be able to say that and put it out, because before you start backwards engineering, you already saw it. You already felt it.
Yeah. Well, I think it starts with when he was knocking doors, because he was feeling. That's a feeling. You know what I'm saying? Because who's gonna go out there and just say, "I'm just gonna go put my face out there," and you gotta feel it. You know, same like when I made this investment.
Right.
I didn't want to fucking make it.
Yeah.
But I had this feeling. I'm like, fuck it. You know what I'm saying?
But that's also very important too, because before you actually saw and started backwards engineering, you stepped in with faith and you didn't maybe have this vision here, right?
That's right. You don't know what you don't know. And so one of the biggest things back to that, like feeling it, is I always tell people, let's go back to our kid version self. And what would they think? And I bring this up because my uncle said, and he was like my father figure, he always said that when he had a problem in life and he was hanging with us, he like jokingly, but then unjokingly said, "Pues qué harías? What would you do?"
Oh.
And so then I'd be like, "Well, Uncle, just do this. Tío, haz esto." And he's like, "You're right. Just do that, huh?" Well, he was overthinking it with his mind. You know,
Right.
what are my peers going to think or say? I made it so simple. And so when he told me that, he said, "You helped me a lot more than you think.
Yeah.
Continue to do that." And so every time that I run into a challenge in today's day, what would my 16-year-old self do or say?
Well, you know, that's a great benefit that you had at that age to be able to express yourself with him,
Yes.
because not a lot of people get that, and that also affects them in business or in the corporate setting when they don't want to speak out because they're scared because they never got the chance to, or they were judged. You know what I'm saying? Because I did learn that in the corporate world, in the corporate setting, especially being Hispanic. And I'm like real Hispanic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
that's
So,
right.
so it's even worse because it's like, in my mind, I'm like, they already don't take me that serious.
Yeah. No,
They just want me to do the job,
Yeah.
but they don't want me to.
It's a mindset thing. I think really, because you're right. I think another mentor of mine and good friend, he was in the Marine Corps, and he told me that too, the same thing, and it just went in my mind. He goes, "You were also very blessed to have that."
Yeah.
He goes, "Because a lot of kids don't." And so when he told me that, I was like, I am blessed. And I said, you know what? And I remember I sent him a picture. I started mentoring at the schools. Because I said, maybe there's those kids that don't have parents that believe in them, but me as a stranger, I will be the first one to show them, no, you got it.
I had parents, for those who don't know, they're still married, but I've always attracted friends who didn't because I felt like they found some sort of value, or, you know, they wanted to be close to what they yearned for, I guess. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
But because they didn't have parents, I learned what I had, you know?
That's right. You
know?
appreciate it.
Yeah, because I was like, dang. But it also made me realize how more ahead mentally they were because they had to deal with things earlier.
Yeah.
You know?
They didn't have the privilege to be able to say yes or no. Or like, I remember, you know, even when certain kids, I remember they'd be like, "Can't you just go tell your mom to give you some money to go get this?" I was like, "Just give me some money." Like, I was just like, bro, you have it all backwards. That's like to me, like that's doing too much. It's like a sin almost. Like, what are you doing asking me money for? So it gives you perspective. And so that's what I've been able to do. Like really just with any goal or any challenge, just like really position myself there. And at the end of the day, even if it's a challenge or a win or whatever, it's a first world problem. Like, let's be serious. I remember one of the things 2 years ago, we lost like $4,000 in a project that we printed for like a school district. It went very bad. And one of my employees was there and he knew where the company was at the time. He goes, "Hey man, we lost some money and we're going to have to like figure this out. What are we going to do?" I said, "We're going to remake it." And he looks at me as we remake it. I get it on my computer and I'm sending an email. And he goes, "You're not mad?" It's like, "Well, dude, I'm mad." But I was like, "What can I do about it?"
Yeah.
I was like, "That's it. Problem solved. We're going to redo it. We're going to figure out where we get the money. And if we don't figure it out, that's okay. But we have to move forward."
Wow.
And so one of my guys at the time, he was just like, "Damn, like that shows me the type of character he is." Because most people would have been like, "No,
You're fired.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're a problem."
I got
dude."
fired. I got fired from a printing company.
Oh, you did? Oh, you worked at a printing company? Oh, shit.
I got fired, dude. I got fired because I was fucking writing raps while I was supposed to be counting shirts.
Oh, really?
And I was counting shirts, but my fucking count was off because I was counting bars and I just messed up the order.
Hey, but it happens, man.
Yeah, that wasn't my passion, bro.
Right.
That's insane. You said so much there, man, that I mean we can unpack. But the whole I hear a lot of purpose, especially with that interaction with your uncle, where you just helping him figure out, you know, and having this ability to simplify problems, right? The just bringing them down to this high stress problem to this low simplified solution sort of, and your ability to do that, I feel that is probably what is revealing more of your purpose. You know, and why people maybe are drawn to you as well, you know, as having that mentality. But much like Rick said, and much like your mentor also pointed out, not everybody can figure that out, or, you know, at an early age, man. So that's like such a blessing, because I tell you what, Some people go their entire lives without, and that is a shame.
So
you know,
what I'm trying to figure out how you gain this intensity so young.
Books, a lot of books, and being around the right people.
But even that, like, not everyone likes to read.
Well, I didn't either. I think the other coin is this. They say choose your heart in life.
Yeah.
So not reading a book is hard, and reading a book is hard.
Right.
Right? Because either I get knowledge or I don't. Like, I plateau in wherever my mindset's at. Right?
I'm stuck, or I gotta keep working.
Yeah, exactly. And so to me, I was like, which one do I choose? And so I'll still never forget, I was at home, and even my dad thought I was weird because I ended up reconnecting with my dad at the time later on in life. He was like, son, why are you at home reading a book on a random, like, Saturday night? I know you have friends. Why aren't you going out with them?
Right.
And I'm like, no, Dad. I'm reading my book. And so he was like, this guy's off, or something must be wrong.
Is your dad Hispanic?
Yeah, that's right. So, like, yeah, exactly. Luego, chica, he's like, vete a ayudarme mejor en lugar de leer ese libro. Yeah, no, literally, man, always. You know what's funny? That's exactly what he'd say. Because we got other things you could be doing. And so, like, I already knew how to deal with that rejection right away. Yeah. But I think it's really that, man. Like, that's what it was. Like, finding what hard you want to do, right? Yeah. You know, having a good job is hard, just like having an okay job is hard.
That's crazy because I relate to you in that sense because I was working on music when my dad was telling me to do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it's just like I chose a really, really hard path. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because that industry sucks. But now that I'm listening to you, I was like, man, if I would have been into other stuff, you know, like selling clothes or stuff like that, like maybe the trajectory would have been different. You know what I'm saying? But I had the same intensity. Yeah. Because
you still do.
I still do.
About to say.
Still in this difficult fucking business.
But at the end of the day, I bet you it's what you've became in the journey.
But it's what
that you value.
Yeah. It's how I feel when I do it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm good at everything. If I put my mind on it, I'm good.
That's right.
But not everything makes me feel good.
That's
right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's how I felt with printing. So that's why people are like, how did you go from a printing business to now you want to sell homes? Because I felt the same way. I said, well, printing makes a living for me. I have a house. I have a rental property. You know, I'm making some money. Good. But it ain't filling me here. But I said, what do I like to do is help others. If I help myself at my age get my first door, how can other people that their whole lives never had a door, had a property? So I said, I want to get my license to do that very, very much. So that's why I think, back to what I said earlier, I lead with education. Because at the end of the day, si alguien más te ayuda, good for you.
Yeah.
It just didn't work here, but at least I know and I feel in my power, I left that little nugget to spark a chance for you to go call your friend or your other, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why I got into real estate, because I knew back to, you know, that's what makes me happy, not, you know, just printing for a living.
Yeah. But I feel like at heart, you like providing people with what they need.
That's right.
And sometimes that product changes for you, but you're always providing something.
Right. And so that's why I do a lot of events. You know, we do about 2 to 3 events a month, and these all cost money. And so people would be like, there's probably other ways you could do this. I was like, yeah, there probably is, but I like this. And this feels good. And so if I could invite people for free, and as long as I could stay free, I'm happy, right? And if not, we're going to find some money, some way to be able to make this free.
Right.
And so I tell people, I happen to be a real estate guy that loves to lead with community. And I've been very blessed to find people like you guys through these communities. I met you at Teocalli. I've met you at like Folklore, you know, that also believe in the same thing, that community connects us in our different ways that we do business.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, man, I think about, you know, I can't stop thinking about that 17-year-old boy, you know, reading those books, right? Because
I can't stop thinking of the dad.
Yeah, because it is like, you know, you got some sort of drive that, I mean, it has that has to be almost like in your DNA type. I don't know if it's a trait that. Have you ever heard the nurture versus nature?
No.
Well, so nurture means, you know, when maybe you don't have something like a skill or an ability, but you can nurture it and develop it. Right. And then nature is when you're sort of born with it, right? And so, you have like athletes, for example, that are born with a crazy speed, and they're going to perform well because that's just what they were born with. It was their
right.
gift, And so as I go back and think about the 17-year-old boy, I think about like, man, that had to be something that was like in your DNA. Like you were just built that way.
Yeah. I also ask that to myself a lot. Like, what is it? People ask, I read a book. I'll answer go that way. It was a book called Start With Why, because back to like, why do I choose to get up every day? Let's say we close a lot of properties in a month, my group and I, and most people would be like, I have an agent right now that's actually struggling with that. I won't name names, but he'll close a property and then he'll like not be present on the face of the planet for 2 weeks, sorry. And I'm like, well, man, like, that's how you're going to have to, get up and hustle it again because you chose comfort. Right. So I read that book and it gave me a greater why.
So when you started picking your books, did it start out in your interest or
no?
It was something that helped you develop that?
It was Rich Dad Poor Dad. So I knew I didn't want to be like broke my whole life. I was like, I knew not saving money was right.
How old were you?
I was, I think maybe that time 18.
When you read that book?
Yeah, Rich Dad Poor Dad. I was 18 and I was reading it and it showed me, and I've kind of felt the same way that the book tells you. You have your rich dad, which is like, he has a business, he figures it out, he's always trying to buy back his time. Then you have poor dads, like save your money, go to college. And so I felt like I had two like similar situations where my family was telling me, no, go get it, like get the secure stuff. Then I had the people that I've already met already that were like in these chamber groups or networking groups saying, no, keep betting on your dream.
Yeah.
And I'm like, shit, who do I listen to?
Right.
And so that book really was like what I was feeling. Yeah. And that's how I got my Nature for More books, because I liked how I felt at the time. And really what it is too, like, I'll be honest with you, back to like nature and nurture, there's two things that I believe in. It's push motivation and pull motivation. Push is like when our dads were telling us, go freaking cut the grass. Like that shit sucks. We don't want to do that. But pull motivation is like when you said, I'm going to count bars while I'm doing something. Yeah. Or like, I'm going to go talk to like random people and figure out maybe I can help someone to print or to buy a house. That's what pulls us. That's our calling. But push is like us getting up and saying, all right, we got to, maybe make breakfast, right? Yeah. We're not looking forward to it.
Right. But it's like I have to do it instead of I get to do it.
Bingo. Yeah, that's right. That's what it is.
That's pretty wild. And that I guess changes with everybody, right? I think it kind of goes back to alignment and trying to align yourself with those God-given skills, right? Or those gifts, right? That you have, that how do you take that gift, create value, and I say create value, right? Because at some point that value has to also translate into monetary, because, right, I mean, you have to, right, have to make a living, right, too. And so there is this other part where it's like, okay, at what point do you consider that as well? Because this entrepreneurship route, I'm sure there was a lot of moments of scarcity where you were like, oh, fuck, how am I, I ain't got no money, or, how am I, make ends meet and stuff like that. So how do you navigate that?
I think really is like thinking of the next step with the next 2 or 3 in mind. And I know I've been through those challenges. I mean, even my employees, some of them looked at the accounts and they knew that there was no money. Like, even they knew that they had to believe in how they were going to get paid. Like, they were even like, there was like that to one point. Yeah. But they just knew that whatever reason, back to maybe law of attraction, that one way or another, like God-givenly or whatever, like it was going to figure it out.
It's going to find you.
Yeah, it's going to find me, right? It's a check it out, right? And so with that being said, or like to my landlord, right? It's like, te va a llegar el dinero on the mortgage, right? So with that being said, like, I think...
You got it? Did you catch it?
The what?
Because when he said one day or another?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, you got it, yeah. So with that being said, I don't know, man. I think I never thought so negative because we have a choice. You know, why worry about the things we can't control?
Yeah.
You know, I was telling this to one of the young kids in our place, and he was saying like, "Hey, man, how do you go about it?" I was like, "Well, I can't control that." I was like, "But I can't control what I could do. Like, if push comes to shove, I'll go get a job to make my ends meet if it needs to go that way, right? But if not, I'll go find another opportunity." I remember one time, you know, I was crazy and my 18-year-old self was 17. I turned 18 20 days later. 18-year-old self decided to finance a $32,000 car with a payment of $850. The dumbest thing ever. It was not even like, it was terrible. But where I'm going with this is when I quit my job and all that and things were going great, there was a time that it wasn't. And I saw it as God and everything testing me. Do you really want this? And so I remember I had some savings and some stocks that I bought like before, like 2 years later, this happened. And I said, am I willing to give up this stock for my future? And in a heartbeat, I sold it and paid what I needed to pay to stay afloat. And I think from there, that moment on, I knew mentally and physically I was all in. And so and I go back to, it's always cliche, right? Because I think as I've listened to like motivational speakers and different business owners, they all tell you about the same thing. But back to me, I realize a pattern. They all say it for a reason. And so I knew like, that's what it is. Because yes, you can help as much as you can, but there's a moment that you do need like some money, right? Y un ejemplo que voy a contar aquí is like my aunt. So again, she's like my mother too. And really, she always served at the church. She's always had a job of some sort and she does very well for herself now. But for whatever reason, she led with community, church. And I remember she'd even help people that had money and took them to their doctor's appointments. And I'd be like, Tia, why are you doing this? Like, you're not even getting paid for this. And it was just her calling.
All right.
But for one way or another, when some happened, todo el mundo y Dios respondía. Like it just figured it out. So I think that's what helped me. Life tested me. My peers tested me to see, are you really in? And if it does come to that point, like I'm in, I'm all black, right? Red, everything on red. So I don't know. That's how I see it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I see your point. I see your point. And, you know, I'm sure at some point in your journey, did you ever question yourself and the direction of why did I follow this path? Why didn't I just go to college? Or was there any point in the path where you just wasn't sure?
I've a lot, man. I think I really overcame that a year and a half ago, really. Transparently.
Wow.
Because there was a moment that I was literally going to just say, screw it all, like, you know, and be like, I'm done, right? But I didn't want to let myself, and because I was unsure, just like I was unsure of what was next, I also was unsure what I would be doing if I didn't. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but
I look at both sides of the coin.
Can you tell us more about that time of your life and like why it came to that?
Because one of the things as entrepreneurs, we realize that, like, you know, we're looking for our next opportunity, right? And running two businesses is really hard. And if I could tell any entrepreneur that's trying to do something, focus on one, because running two is hard. And so that's why I felt pressure. I had demand here, demand there. And then my heart was saying, go continue to lead with community and talk to others. So technically I was divided in three. And, you know, I had my family saying, where you at? And it's like all this pressure, man. And I said, is this even worth it? And I overcame that real quick. And I was like, how can I just do better at what I'm doing? And so, like, can I outsource this? Sure, my margins aren't going to be the best, but let's just get rid of this so I could go make more money or whatever that was. And I remember I didn't even know who to talk to, man, because I didn't even have business owners. You know, think about it. My peers were at the bar at Lotus or in Westport and drinking. I couldn't ask any friends.
Right.
You know, they had no idea. Or let's say, you know what? Let's go back to family. My family's never been there. They've been there in other spots of life, but not in this business life. And so I was like, I really felt alone. And you almost have to like clap for yourself every day. Like,
You got to be your own cheerleader, right?
Until you finally get others that clap with you. And so, like, it again, back to almost sounds cliche, but I just knew I needed to like lock in and let go of these negative mindset distractions.
Because they're there, man.
Oh yeah,
these voices are so prevalent, and they get loud.
Yeah.
Sometimes they bring out your insecurities, you know, and just really talking yourself through those is what's going to keep you on the path. Because you know, you can deter so easy, especially when the outside reflects what those voices are saying. Right? That's a crazy, because that's when you start creating. Much like you were saying, where you're envisioning and you're feeling, that's the coherent. So it could work in either direction, right?
That's right.
You could use it to create, or you could use it to be stagnant and continue to be in the same place, you know. But you know, the way that you kind of talk yourself through, and you continue to move forward. I heard you say this a couple times already. Like, just keep on moving forward. Yeah. Go find the next opportunity. I think that's the answer. Yeah. I think you're into something very, very important there, because, you know, people get stuck, man. I know I did, man. And I for a long time follow this corporate path, you know. Oh. I went to school. I got my master's degree, you know, in business. You know, I worked in operations for 20 plus years, and still, you know, and so this entrepreneurship route has really been here most recently, and it's really tested a lot of like fears, you know. Right. And myself, man, that's when I see young people like you figuring it out, like at that age, bro, it's so inspiring to me, man. Yeah. It really is. And that's why I'm just like so curious, and I ask questions, because you know, you've definitely done exactly what you got from your fam, which is figuring it out. You know, figuring it out, bro.
Yeah, and the way I like to think about it too is like they had other things that they needed to figure out. Technically, let's be real. I could go and tell mom and dad, "Hey, mom, dad, are you guys cool that I come back?" Like, and they'd probably be like, "Yeah." Right. So I think there's also that like almost security blanket, if you will, but I know people would see that as a step back.
Right.
But like, no, at the end of the day, I'm blessed to be like, I have family fear. They didn't.
Right, yeah.
They were the only ones here. And they had to go find a property manager que los iba a dejar rentar, you know, with not even speaking the language. So I guess perspective, you know, perspective that our problems aren't really that big. And so that's what I try to instill in not only my, you know, my teammates, you know, my employees and the agents that I work with, and even my clients, to navigate any situation. Yeah,
I guess, that is something that, you know, we have to think about in terms of like, you know, older generations, is that they were in more of a survival mode, right?
That's right.
You know, and where you had an opportunity to maybe think differently or do different things because you had that, you know, you had that floor, right?
Exactly.
You had somebody to fall on.
Is your family, are they immigrants, or are they?
Yeah, they came here. They're I'm first generation born here, and they came here. Funny enough, I'm actually going with my mom here in the next week to Mexico for the first time that she's gone in 26 years.
Oh, wow. Man.
So to me, like, I can imagine how she's going to feel, right?
So have you gone?
Yeah, I'm going to be here going to Mexico 3 times this month.
Man.
Dude, I get to tell people, like, I'm blessed to do it because, like, again, back to my first world problems.
Like my mom hasn't gone in 26 years. Yes. This is my 3rd time this year.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like, but imagine how my mom feels. So I love when I'm like, Mom, mira lo que hice.
Yeah.
And she's like, qué bueno. I can't wait till I get to do that, right?
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know, man. I'm excited for that. And so they're immigrants. They came here long time ago, and you know,
the Chihuahua, no?
The Chihuahua, mi mamá y mi papá de Querétaro.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, and you probably know my mom if I showed you a picture, like, because I know you had Chewy were friends, and I remember your parents actually too.
Yeah, Chewy was actually on the podcast.
Was he actually? I haven't seen that. Okay,
it was Chewy, Luis, and Eric. Okay. They were like episode 2 or 3.
Okay, I got to see that.
Then. Way back in the day.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah. So yeah, like that. Like I remember Angel. Yeah, Angel's your brother, right? Yeah, brother, exactly. Yeah. So I remember all that.
No, I remember seeing you at church.
Yeah. See? Yeah, I remember that.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. But have you been to Chihuahua?
Actually not. So this is my
Never.
first time.
Okay.
So-
Because you say you've been to Mexico, just
Yes.
not to like
Yeah.
where you guys are originally from.
No, because I think really to me it's like back to what am I going to really do there?
Yeah.
And so now I think again maybe timing. Maybe I've said every time I was going to go with family and I never went.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the timing was waiting for my mom.
Wow.
So going with her, going with my grandma too. My grandma's going to be joining us as well.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a
she's-
different trip.
She's a tour guide, man. When
Yeah.
it comes to the family trips, you
Oh
know?
yeah, that's right.
Because you can't experience that without your parents
That's right.
and your family.
Yeah.
Because I think about that when I first went back.
Mhm.
We all went together though. We had our first trip back together,
Oh, that's awesome.
and it was around the same amount of time, like 20 something years,
Wow,
and just seeing them,
how they felt.
how they felt. My mom immediately phoned out.
Yeah,
It's like when they came over here.
that's right.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah. They-
Everything was new, but
Yeah.
but they knew it though.
Yeah, it felt like home again,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
even though that corner changed completely,
Yeah.
they felt
They
like
knew
a-
all the changes.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
knew all the changes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I'm excited.
It
for
was
that.
beautiful. I recommend you record.
I will, man. I will.
Yeah.
I'll share it for sure.
make memories for sure,
Yeah.
man. That's a priceless moment for sure.
Actually, that was actually the first time my parents seen their parents' grave too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I got to experience them visiting their parents' grave for the first time.
Wow.
That was hard, bro.
Yeah.
And they did it. They didn't do it. They did it in turns,
Oh, really?
and that's something that as seeing a marriage couple who
Yeah.
has to phase that, how they took that decision to be there for one another,
Yeah.
because they went to my mom's mom. My dad's always catering to my mom.
Right.
They, she went to hers, and then they went through that process
Yeah.
with hers. But my dad didn't want no one to be there.
Oh, he wanted.
He wanted to be by himself.
Yeah.
But I couldn't bear hearing him cry.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, I gotta go over there with him too.
Right.
Mhm.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
it was such a surreal experience, bro.
Yeah.
Just everything involved in that trip.
I was about to say a lot of different emotions, but you realize, back to everything, like the perspective, like what they went through, and they still showed up for us, right?
But also not only that, like my responsibility over here.
Oh,
you know? Like, dang, bro, this is a lot. It's a lot of sacrifice that's done for me. Like
Yeah.
for me,
Yeah. So that's how I feel. Like I always tell even like kids my age that are first generation, like at least I don't know if guilty is the right word, but I'll use guilty.
Yeah.
Like I felt almost like a guilt. Like I have
Like
to do something.
Like a survivor's remorse sort of thing.
yes.
Right?
Yeah. Because I'm like, if they did all this, came to the random state of Missouri
right.
to come and find a job that they didn't even know a language and found a place and had a kid, and I can't even do my pay my bills or go to work or ask for help.
Yeah.
Like that's ridiculous. Like that's how I always felt. That was my perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I go to these schools and I go give like these speeches, I always tell these kids like your problems aren't that big, man. The fact that your friend don't like you right now, he'll get over it in a week. Like like go back, touch. I always use the word touch some grass.
Mhm.
Like you're fine and move forward.
yeah.
And so like because it gives you perspective. Like I haven't felt that yet with my mom going to Mexico, but you felt that with your parents.
Yeah.
And so you're like, yeah, like I just have to be responsible here in the
Yeah.
USA.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's something I always, it always sticks with me when I think of what I'm going to do with them. Because it's kind of sad for me to know that they can't just go visit, those places. Like they have to go all the way to Mexico to go see their mom, or leave them flowers.
Right.
And it's difficult, man. I'm like, fuck, what am I going to do with them?
Yeah,
No.
Yeah, no, that's right. That's right. We have to think that far out too. Yeah.
I've always been like that, though.
Yeah.
I've always made myself depressed by thinking that far.
Yeah. Well, I think really it's you prepare yourself because my uncle went through a situation similar to your parents
Mm-hmm.
that and I think really my uncle maybe he's the one that showed me because I really we did everything together. And when his parents passed away, unfortunately, in a car accident in Mexico, his brothers were calling him saying, you got to come back. Mom and dad, they passed away. Like, you need to be here with the family. And he was the only one that was like, what does that change? Like, he grieved in another way,
Yeah.
not because he didn't want to go see them, but he realized like he processed this another way. He was with his new family here. And I remember when he shared that he went for the first time, I wasn't able to go. I didn't have my passport at the time. Like he bawled, same thing.
Yeah.
Because he reconnected with them. But it shows you how tough you have to be to control your emotions, to be like, the world's ending, let me go and travel, knowing it wasn't the right time to travel yet. Because he couldn't, he'd change his whole life. Right? Because at the time he wasn't able to. Now he is. But at the time he wasn't. So I understand your parents 100% from what he's shared.
Yeah. I recorded it.
Oh, you did? Yeah, see, so you
I hate watching that video.
Oh, yeah, no, tell your part. Yeah, no, yeah. Yeah.
That was also something I felt guilty for recording.
Oh, really?
Like, it felt weird recording that, but as a documenter, I needed to document.
No, but it's a moment. No, I bet when they watch it, they probably have maybe a good feeling about it. No?
They haven't. They don't even know I have it.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure when they did, they wouldn't be mad that I did anymore.
That's right.
Or even, but it was just none of us were used to it. And I recorded my mom, and then I realized that I had to be there for them, and I didn't get to record my dad.
Yeah.
But it was a weird feeling sitting there trying to record this scenario.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I think it's a memory, man. I think that's how I see it. It's just memories for all of us to see.
Yeah, man. I could see though how even those roots actually impact, the boy, the 17-year-old boy, but also this 22-year-old man. You know what I mean? Because I feel like you have a lot of responsibility and values that sort of come from that, from their experience that translated onto you. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think I saw them, and my uncle shared this nugget with me all the time. He said, you have 2 ears and one mouth. So you should probably listen to your peers more or adults more than you speak. And so one of the things that I did was I really listened to what he said, and took everything and tried to compress it one way or another. Every time that he told me no, I took it as I'm angry. I don't want to see you right now. But I was also like, it's a lesson. There's something here. So I see it at everything. Everything has a purpose. And I think really they ingrained that in me. And so now when I go out and have an opportunity to share that, I lead with that. Because I think it's a nugget one way or another for someone to really just get some perspective.
Right.
Yeah.
Earlier you mentioned that you're a man of faith, and I'm just curious how that translates into what you do, right? Like your mission, your values, does that show up? Does that faith show up in what you do?
I think it tests me for sure, because if I didn't believe in God or in myself, I think it'd show in all that. And so, yes, there's been a disconnect. I don't attend church and mass as much as I used to, but I lead with it, and I'm not shy to share, that's what I believe in, right? And not only that, but anytime I give someone a phrase, one way or another, my uncle says, that comes from the Bible. If you read the Bible 100%, what you just said, it comes from there, but you express it another way. The message is there, but you're the messenger, just like you're a messenger, and we all are messengers of something.
Right.
Right. And so I think my faith just lies here. I journal a lot. I believe in journaling, and I know it sounds kind of crazy, but I opened it up from a year ago, and I was reading it to my brother. My brother's he's 19. He's about to turn 20, and so he works with me as well. And he was having a hard time with something recently, and he overcame it. And I was reading my journal, and he got some perspective, and I started to cry because I was like, damn, I said that. I was feeling that at the time. Something that I felt I'm now overcoming now. And so then that's when I realized I need to continue to journal, because there was phases I didn't. And I was like, no, every day ahora, lo que piense, lo que my problem or whatever, and how I'm going to solve it. So that way I could reflect, because I feel like that's really what we do with our faith. We open up the Bible and we reflect on it.
Right.
Yeah. Journaling is a very powerful practice. I do that myself. And thanks for reminding me, because it's been some days since that I haven't, and it's crazy. I got a story for you. Crazy, because I filled my first journal, right? And so I found another journal that I had used, but I sort of started it and then just kind of left it, and and I'm like, well, I'm going to continue to use this journal, and I'm looking through this journal, and I found a letter, okay, and this letter on it it said Dennis, and it said carta para abrir 228 22928. Okay, so I have no recollection of writing this letter.
Whoa.
Okay, and as I'm looking at it, I'm like, I wrote this letter to myself to open 2 years from now, which is in 20. It's in 228 and 22928,
Yeah.
which is a leap year.
Yeah.
You know, it only happens every 4 years.
Yeah.
But I'm like, man, my old cell phone must have really been thinking with some intentionality
That's right.
to send his future self this letter.
Yeah.
And I mean, I kind of remember like writing or like, but I have forgotten about it, but I don't know what I wrote.
Right.
I had no idea what said in that letter. And I'm like, I'm going to honor that. I'm going to hang on to that letter, and I'm going to open it a couple years from now.
Yeah.
You know?
And see what you were thinking.
And see what I was thinking, because I do look back at some of those writings, man, and I think, man, there's some gems in there. There's some wisdom. There's some lessons that person was trying to say, man. And I'm just like, wow, that's wild. And then to see just the trajectory too of the mentality where I was, where I'm at. So there's a lot of self-reflection in all of it. So
that's why I think journaling is important even now. You know, think about what we're feeling right now. And as we get done with our days, you know, your future self will be like, you know, that wasn't a serious problem. Look, I was overfeeling. Or maybe it gives you perspective of something you're going through currently when you do read it. Mm-hmm. So I do believe in that. I've never done a future card, and that to me, I'm excited to see what you wrote in 2 years. Maybe we'll loop it again.
I'll be curious. Yeah, I'll be curious.
Yeah,
I've my journaling has been this.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. See, yeah, that's right. You're documenting everything.
Yeah, so I get to hear me, see me, all of it.
And that's the way to do it with media nowadays, right? What you guys are doing, because I had someone that wanted to know what myself was thinking 3 years ago, and I was like, I didn't even start doing nothing 3 years ago. I was like, where can I find it? I was like, Snapchat memories, maybe? That's what my mind went to. And I was like, all right, but no. And I was like, podcasts. Mm-hmm. So they're all on YouTube. So I told this person, I was like, search me up. I was like, and if you want, we can watch it. Mm-hmm. And and maybe I'm just this big chillon nowadays, but like, I watched the video, and dude, I was like looking at this person, and then my friend was there too. And they're like, dude, you're living that right now. Mm-hmm. You're living that right now.
Right.
And I even was like, damn, I said that, and I'm doing it. And so like, it's going to be cool to see, like, as it continues to go on, how like media documents.
We're now here, you know.
How many years have you been doing this now?
We started 2020, but
oh, wow.
When I've always had an intention of having a co-host. I started it on my own.
Yeah.
And now I got a co-host. I always had the intention of having a 4 mic setup. We got it now.
Yeah.
You know, 3 camera, like everything that we're doing right now was already in my mind.
That's right.
You know, a few years back.
Right.
You know,
it was the blueprint, right? I mean, and sometimes whether it is that episode or whether it was a journal or something but it is so important to, like, because it happens in your mind before it actually happens in reality. And that's gotta feel amazing, just to kind of look back on some of that footage and, you know, realize that what you set out yourself to do, you did.
Yeah.
That's got to be empowering, bro.
Oh, yeah. It's a tangible, because now you have results. You're capable of it.
Doing it.
Yeah. And so
and you embodied it. Like, not just like what somebody else did, right? Which is always what I've always tried to do, is find points or references, like who's done it, right? Because, you know, to combat that belief sometimes that, you know, can you do it? That right? That doubt.
Yep. It's proof in the pudding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you say we have results?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say,
dude, if it literally, bro, like, we're sitting right now a year later since we did our first episode with Coach KZ. Yeah. And think about how much stuff has happened just in the last couple months, where you know the 2 pieces of media that they've covered your story. Yeah, I mean, I've been in Indelible Arts Network. I mean, all this other stuff, and we had some that crazy stories, amazing guests, and we are so thankful for you guys' time, man, and all the guests you know, that have been through this platform, and I can't thank you guys enough for just being open, for being here on a Saturday and a Sunday, just chopping it up with us, and, being open to having those deep conversations. And you guys, make this, you guys are just as much part of this dream as any of us, because honestly, it's just a privilege to be able to do that, man. I feel very privileged to just be able to sit here and catch this.
Yeah. It's the conversations that matter, because that's all we take with at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say life is short sometimes, but it's like knowing you left an impact, or they left an impact on you, and if you could change that. And that's what podcasts really do. Share stories, get perspective, and just extend that hand one way or another.
Yeah, I feel like, for the city, podcasts it's a avenue or a branch that a city needs, for the whole ecosystem.
Yeah.
And that's what we've been trying to find our place in that, to help entrepreneurs, to help artists, to help comedians, whoever fits the mold, But,
that's right.
And tell their story, man, and really just tell the story. I get so much out of it, man. I've learned so much through this podcast. I was just talking to JL yesterday. Shout out JL from Interrupt KC, and I was telling him, I was like, man, I honestly learned to listen with podcasting. I thought I knew how to listen, but because you have to know what questions to ask, and to know what to ask, you have to listen.
You got to ask your significant other if you've learned to listen.
Yeah,
right. That too.
If you ask her, she might say, "I have not."
You're like, no. That's funny.
I feel like I've learned to talk better.
Yeah,
I've learned to pause instead of repeating certain fill words.
That's right. That's right.
I feel like in terms of learning, spiritually and mentally, this has taught me the most.
Really,
it's almost like, we've been going to therapy. My daughter and I, me and her, just started going to therapy, and I've realized that the feeling I get out of therapy is sometimes I get it here too.
Wow,
it's the same feeling. The learning or expressing does that.
Just speaking it out and having others really listen to you, and how they take it in too,
or just releasing it.
You
know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, and I've always looked at therapy,
like that story about my parents, and I haven't told that story yet.
Really?
Yeah, this is the first. But you triggered that.
Huh.
You triggered that memory when you said that, and I was just sitting here thinking, like, dang, I forgot about that.
Wow.
So that's what I love about this, man. It reminds me of what I've been through, where I'm going, what I'm doing.
Yeah. No. Yeah. 100%.
Everything's so relatable, man. It really is when you really start thinking about, each other's stories. Is there's more in common than the differences, man. And that's why conversating is so important, man. I'm a testament of that, and that's why I continue to do what I do with Rick, and it's just bringing guests like yourself here, man. Yeah. But you definitely got a lot of game to teach, man. And I'm sure there's people out there that are going to benefit, young men that can benefit from this podcast and everything that you're sharing. And thank you for sharing it, There's a few other things I wanted to kind of talk to you about. Mentors, because I feel like you've mentioned that quite a bit, and what's shaped you, who's shaped you, who's been your mentor, how you managed to find them. Because for me, it's been one of the biggest challenges sometimes, is trying to, find people that are willing to offer that knowledge or that mentorship,
Yeah. I think mentors really almost... they almost start as a conocido, someone
Mm-hmm.
Then they become a friend, and then slowly they preach wisdom to you. So mentors and friends is maybe one now, but it's a circle of excellence is what I call it. So I find the 5 people that can affect me in life. Because imagine if we just listen to one person, plus that's very narrow-minded, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you have 5 people that pour into you, maybe it's on a monthly basis that you go get coffee or go get lunch or whatever, and just talk, they'll slowly guide you.
Yeah.
And so you find that through just connecting with you guys, right? It's first, hey, then hi, then ya con confianza. And then there's that hey, are you willing to meet up monthly? Let's really stay in touch. Some are yeah. And then specifically if they're hey, can you help me with this?
Mm-hmm.
most people would probably say yes, but the problem is no one wants to ask.
Right.
They're scared of that rejection. And I've been rejected too. I've had people that I thought they were good people. Like, I'm not saying they're not, but they were just like, look, I don't want to disappoint you. I don't have time for that. I appreciate that. No, I cannot do that for you. And I said, great. I appreciate your transparency. Y se acabó, right?
Sí.
No rencor, no nothing. But, there is those people that are willing to do it. Like, there's a guy, like the dude that does all my printing. We're the closest of friends. We hang out. I'm always going to his house. We'll go get drinks or we'll go to Chiefs games together. And, you would think that we both are out there for the same thing. And it's like, nah, man, he's giving me advice. Hey, don't use that software. Don't do that. That product ain't even that good. Like the margins aren't there. And I'm just like, and obviously me being me is like, yeah, maybe he's not wanting to tell me. But then I look into it myself, it's like, oh yeah, he was right. So really, finding those people that want to lead with that, one of the things I also go back to is find your runners in life. Life is beautiful when you run with people that want to run. Not you're just running by yourself and you look back, there's no one there, but you could keep pace. And then if you slow down, you go do it. Right. And so that's who I've been able to find. My friends that slowly, like they just, they have some that I would like to be like them and I strive to be like them and they pour into you.
Right. Would you say that this is, you're kind of describing Vive en KC group?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, really what it is. Like our whole group is just like people that want to help each other. I have people that say, look, man, I've been looking for a brokerage. It's not even just the brokerage that is appealing, but it's also just proximity of you. They're like, and not only that, but who you know. Because I know you're not going to keep a connection away from me. I'm like, no, who do you need to know? And I'll introduce you right then and there. And I went to an event. A client of mine said, hey, I know you post a lot on social media. You must know a lot of people. Do you mind inviting me to an event? I said, yes, let's go. Tomorrow at 5. Right on the spot. I checked him. He showed up at 5 and I said, who do you want to meet? Like, let's get clear about it. Like, have clarity. Well, this, and that. Right. And I was like, okay, for what? So I like to challenge people. And through that, I put people in rooms, just like my mentors have challenged me. Because they're like, well, what do you want help with? Help is very vague. Ask me and I'll help you. So I've been very blessed.
Ask and you shall receive. Huh?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. It's like you said, like right. Much like what your uncle's been trying to tell you.
Yeah.
This stuff is in the Bible.
That's right.
You're just saying it in a different way.
That's what he says, dude. He's like, because he loves that I read books, but he always invite me because he's very active in the church. He'll be like, man, I love when I hear it and I can see your podcast and I can see that you're doing this, but he's like, everything you're saying is in the Bible. I promise you. Yeah. And so that's my nugget of like God trying to tell me like, don't get too far. Look, stay in line with that.
I feel like, we come from a similar background. My parents instilled a lot in me when it comes to, God and all that. And they put in so much that I could run without reading. But I know that reading is going to teach me more than what they taught me. You know what I'm saying? But I've always had that issue, just like you, focusing on everything else, but not focusing on reading because I rely on what I already know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
I haven't really had a whole lot of face-to-face mentorship. But I find a lot of mentorship in books and podcasts. I'm big on podcasting. So I watch a lot of podcasts. Besides doing podcasting, I watch a lot of podcasts, and that's how I educate myself. And so I'm praying. I found myself praying one time, and I'm like, God, would you please just give me some sort of direction, like mentor, and who is it, like whose character traits would you want me to like embody, right? And so it's crazy because he took me down this path where I'm learning about this character of Joseph of Arimathea. I don't know if you ever heard.
No.
So he was a businessman and also a political figure during the era of Christ. Oh. And he was actually the one that asked Pontius Pilate he requested Christ's body, and he offered his tomb.
Wow.
So Christ was buried in Joseph of Arimathea's tomb.
Yeah.
Right. And so I became very intrigued by this character. I'm like, wow, who was he? And so based on character traits and historical events, now you could build an archetype of what this person would be like and what this person would tell you in mentorship.
Yeah.
And I want to share this with you guys if you guys don't mind. But this is some knowledge, bro, that I was just like,
I'm ready.
It blew my mind. It blew my mind. And so basically it says, son, I've seen men rise with brilliance and fall with greed. I've seen fortunes built on deception and lost in the same wind that carried their pride. You don't build success on cleverness. You build it on character.
Mm.
When I was younger, I thought influence came from money, but I've learned that true power comes from integrity. Wealth without righteousness is a curse in disguise. But wealth in the hands of the righteous, that's true kingdom currency. I was a merchant, yes, a man of property and a man of trade. But I was also part of the council that condemned the innocent. I stayed silent longer than I should have, and silence is costly when truth is on trial. So, when the moment came, when the world mocked the brave, and when the world mocked and the brave hid, I stepped forward and gave my tomb, my best, my most valuable possession, because some investments are eternal. If you wish to build a business that lasts, build it with heaven in mind. Let your name be associated with fairness, compassion, and courage. Don't chase opportunities; attract them through integrity. And when you prosper, remember, wealth is not ownership; it's stewardship. There will come a day when your influence will give you access to rulers and systems. Use it wisely. Don't fear standing apart. Righteousness will always look rebellious in the eyes of the corrupt. Move quietly, but move with authority. Speak less and deliver more. Let your results testify louder than your words. And never forget that the tomb I gave was returned to me empty. What you give to God, you never lose. You just see it rise again in glory. So build.
Amen. Oh.
So build, but build clean, build for eternity. And when they ask you what drives you, you tell them, I serve the King who conquered death, and I build in his name.
Amen.
Wow, amen. Man,
Bro,
that is powerful.
That is powerful.
Send me that. I'm going to use that as my sphere.
Bro, I it almost felt like I was pulling mentorship through the meta from a person 2,000 years ago. And it was words directly spoke to me in that way, and I was reading this, man. It was almost like life being, like breathed into me, man, through the Creator, and because I just don't know a person, real life right now, that would tell me those words.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I got what I needed.
What's crazy to me is how old it is, and it still resonates.
Right.
Man, some things are timeless, bro. So, some things are timeless.
That means that the laws don't change.
No.
The society changes, everything else changes, but the laws don't change.
Right.
Principles are still the same. They still felt the same.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest things I've read through books is like, we all have a perception of life. Like, think about it. Like, people before, like, there's first, like, black and brown, and, the white people had power and we didn't have it, right? Mm-hmm. Or women's rights, everyone always had this power to overcome. We all have this, thing. And so we think about it, what was their things, and they had felt the same way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so that, to me, like, all that stuff, like, I could apply it to my life just like you could. And whoever's listening, like, that's really going to be like, give you some perspective.
Right. No,
I love it.
It's applicable, man. It's applicable, but that's what we have now, our disposal, right? And what we can actually reach and be able to implement, because you do have to have that humility about yourself to say, hey, I don't know everything.
That's right.
I really don't. So let me figure it out. Like, let me find out. Somebody has to have the answer. You know what I mean?
That's right. I like that.
What is something that right now you can say man, I still need to learn that.
I would say structure, but I think with structure, everything changes. I would love to have everything solved, systems, everything, but then I put myself in peers or like, other people that don't know and they don't have it. Like, for example, one of my good friends, he also has a business and he's invited me behind the curtains, which is what I call like, the office. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they're having the same problems I'm having. Right. And so then we throw bones at each other. Hey man, that's how I solve that. That's how you solve this. And so to me, it's finding like that structure of ecosystem. Because with AI that's developing and all that, there's so many things that I could get ahead of it with tech stacks. Like I got like 2 CRMs, 4 different AIs, and dude, man.
Before I got a public announcement to say.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when it comes to artists, what this man just said is very important because you're doing it in business.
Okay.
You're doing it in business. And this and this is the problem with podcasters and artists and people that are like artists.
Yeah.
We don't do that.
Oh, really?
We don't throw each other bones.
What?
No, that's the problem with this fucking whole thing is that people don't understand that it's okay to allow or help someone else grow.
Yeah.
It's okay. Like if they do you wrong, they do you wrong. Don't be scared to be done wrong.
Yeah.
Be scared to not take the opportunity. Because I always put out information. I help people even though I know they're not going to help me.
Right.
But I do it because that's my integrity.
That's right.
I do it because if they decide to do me or do me wrong or use me or whatever the hell, their price is going to be higher than mine.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not going to change what I'm doing.
I agree.
Never going to change that. And but I wanted to say that because a lot of people always say what's wrong with the culture and what we do.
Yeah.
In business, it works.
Yeah.
In this business, it doesn't because that is lacking.
Well,
Giving each other a bone.
Well, even then, most people don't want to throw bones.
Pause.
No. Pause. Yeah, let's get a pause. Not that.
Breathe.
Hold on. I was gonna hold it, but glad you said it. All right. At least we know that. See, that's culture. So no, man. I think really. Not everyone does that in business though. And Dennis could probably testify to this. Like most people don't want to. Like if you're looking for AI or how I go about my day, like reach out, let me know, and I'll tell you the framework. Because it's in my best interest that we all do better for our community. And even like, for example, as artists, I think about, an example that, because I used to watch, who Fuerza Regida is?
Yeah.
Okay, so I used to follow them before they were super big.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I realized is they were doing features left and right before everyone was charging for features, right?
Yeah.
And because they understood that they could probably move faster together as artists instead of being like, no, you want my time, you got to pay me X first. And it's like, what? It's like, hold up, let's just see where we can get. And then, once we get to that level of like, bam, we will go that route.
Yeah.
But again, it's just the circles you're in, I think, really, because sometimes that will happen. I feel like they just don't want to do that.
Yeah.
No, there is that, definitely. We've been fortunate enough to have cross collaborate with a lot of podcasts, and they've showed a lot of love, people like, from like Indelible Arts Network, to bring about podcasts, Interrupt KC. We're not in this competitive field. We're on this more collaborative, efforts, and we've helped each other out. So, man, I'm very blessed to be able to be part of that podcasting community, and that I think that when you show up with a certain intention, I think you attract people that are very like-minded. And while there is a lot of what Rick's talking about, we've been able to find, those
right connections.
Yeah, those connections, the right relationships, and we've been able to be of value to one another. You know what I mean? So that's what we are continuing to do. And hey, man, I always tell people, man, hey, I'm all about collaboration and creation. That's it. What can we create together? You know what I'm saying? And I like the fact that you're touching, ecosystems and processes, because that's very important. I mean, creation happens in a more disruptive, unorganized way, because initially when you first start going, right, it has no form. you know, and it's very chaotic in nature. And there, you know, there's this spontaneity to it where you're like, don't know quite what to do with it. And you can create. But if you wanted to stand the test of time, then you have to put those things in place.
Right.
You have to have it. You know what I'm saying? There's no ifs or buts about it. You got to figure out how this idea, how you can put energy and fit this idea so that it can be here tomorrow and the day after tomorrow and so forth. And I feel like that's a lot what, you know, what we've been able to do with Ozone Lair is that we've now got, you know, a process, a system, you know, where like, you know, schedule, you know, and being more consistent with it. And so, yeah, no, that's good that that you're thinking that when you implement it and that you're fine tuning that process, because you do have, you know, things in place, and I see it. You know, you have your, you know, your website, your you know, counseling platform. You know, with all of your information, you got all your social media stuff, very consistent across all platforms. You know what I mean? You're constantly putting content out. Your content is pretty uniform. You know, so you are essentially building it out already, and this is all very. And this is all very new, you would say, right? Like maybe as of maybe what, the last year?
Yeah, I would say the last year, really. Yeah. I think it's, I tell people it's never a script, it's a framework.
Yeah.
You know, it's like when I talk to someone, it's like when you're, you know, maybe writing some lyrics, right? It's a framework of what you're trying to start telling, how you want to do it, what it's going to say, and just that's what I lead with. So even when I do my content, what am I putting out there? How am I going about it? And how do I want people to feel? And what's the result? So like, that's why as of late, I tell people the first thing, if you want to meet with me, client, anyone, I need a call. 15 minutes. Why are we talking? What are we doing?
Okay, I'm going to put you in the spot real quick. Is that all right?
Put me on the spot.
All right. Elevator pitch right now. What do you got?
For what? Give me some context.
Let's say real estate.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so first thing, if it's a call, right? I'm like, hey, Dennis, thank you for taking the time. So I acknowledge you, right? Thank you for taking the time to speak with me. What am I able to do to help you? Let's start with your questions. Okay. Push it right back to them. Because the problem is people want to pitch. You said pitch. It's never a pitch. How can I help them? Because a lo mejor yo empiezo acá con todo my demonstration.
That's my problem when someone approaches me.
Yeah, then I'm just like, no, hold up. Maybe they were just like, dude, I'm ready to buy. So like, you know what I'm saying? And because I spoke so much, I wouldn't have known that. And so to me, I'm like, what are your questions? And start there. And once I find their questions, it's like, all right, I'm going to highlight their pain points. If they said something, I'm going to make sure like I almost let them know it's there more. Because then they slowly come up with the answers. I already know what I want the answers to be, but I need them to know that they know it. Because if their mind isn't right, I can't work with them 100% right away.
Right.
And if they aren't, that's why my framework for my content is very intentional. I tell people this. You won't really see me post houses on my content. Everyone always wants to do a walkthrough of their newest listing. I don't. Because I don't lead with real estate or lead with printing. You don't also see t-shirts or products on my Instagram. That's very intentional. I want them to know who Jonathan is, and they can imagine that's what their employees look like. That's what their agents look like because of the mindset that he's putting out there. So it's never really a pitch. It's more so let them lead and then just slowly highlight their pain points and get them to a level of understanding where we can all talk. It's that, man. I promise. It's never a pitch.
Wow.
Never a script. And I feel like everyone wants to do scripts. It's like, no, let's be people.
Yeah.
Let's help first.
No, it's crazy that you say that because I feel that, you know, I feel like when something is scripted, it just doesn't quite come out authentic, organic, you know. It's just, I actually had you know, like an introduction written for you.
Oh, really?
I mean, I could have read right off of it.
But it went right off the mic.
Right. No, and I just, you know, and I actually had a whole agenda also. I haven't looked at one of those questions.
See?
We've been through this so many times. We tried to structure this thing, but it's too robotic.
No, man, you can't have it.
It's like, okay, it's because like we get to this point where it's like it's climbing, and then we got to change it. No. You know?
No, I think it ruins the flow. And I think to me, like, just like, you know, in your industry and in our industry, I think we all want to lead with what we believe in is just like understanding each other as humans.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
That's it. And so I always say it's never really a pitch. It's just
Yeah.
leading with how can I help?
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Life's not a pitch.
That's right.
Life's a bitch.
That too. That too. Yeah, I love it. I love it.
That's cool, man. That's cool. I really do. I can respect that. I can respect, and I can see that. I honestly can see that. I think that's big part of your success, and I wish you many more to come. And I'm sure you're still very young, and you have so much more ahead of you, brother. I'm excited for your future. If you've been able to do this much and this short amount of time, I'm like, I wonder where he's gonna be so in another 5 years. I think
Yeah.
like, man, where he's gonna be another 5 years from now. Have you thought about that?
I'm going to throw this out there.
Okay, well,
Don't quote me.
let's do this. This
This is a capsule.
No,
We're
yeah,
putting the capsule right here, right now.
This is gonna be because I'm gonna mark this. I'm gonna make this an exercise. I'm gonna mark it on my calendar
Okay.
5 years from now, and we're gonna go back and look at that 5 years from now and see if, in fact, like that episode from Interrupt KC, that you're actually leaving everything out.
Yeah.
That you said in that episode.
Okay.
5 years from now, you're going to be in that spot. I'd be curious.
Okay.
What would that Jonathan 5 years from now would look like?
Man, I would say, I do everything with the next 2 steps in mind. So I'm building my real estate business, not because I want to have this huge empire business, but because I want to exit. And it sounds crazy to say, it's going well, but I want to exit. But because I can't impact everything in selling houses and helping investors and all that, I want to eventually get into politics.
Ooh,
Politics.
I can see that.
And they're going to destroy me there. I know it.
Mhm.
So like I have to build this huge shell and get ready not only here, but out there and everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so my goal is to get into politics.
Okay.
Because I love these conversations. I love seeing someone being like, I didn't understand that, but now I do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so whatever that is, I don't know what state here, is it Missouri, Kansas? I don't know, but
Mhm.
politics, man. But in order to get to that point, I got to build my businesses up to where I'm out
Mhm.
because I cannot be doing,
Mhm.
I can't do both.
You got to make your businesses self-sustainable.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what you're working on right now.
Politics. I guess I serve on a lot of nonprofits. I'm on different boards and committees. So,
Mhm.
maybe doing more of that because I do love doing that stuff. But yeah, I think it's really politics because we're in a time where it's super controversial and stuff. And I know by then my mind thinks it's not going to be that much. I think politics are going to fray away. And so maybe there could be that different light here locally.
Yeah.
And obviously being in politics, you got to have someone that doesn't like you.
Right.
So like, I know that's coming, but
Right.
I think I'd be ready for that.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I see?
What's up?
I could see you as some sort of big time speaker,
Really?
like
Okay.
Ed Milet type of
I saw Ed Milet.
yeah,
I've seen him
Like-
last March. Sorry. Yeah.
like motivating crowds,
Yeah.
and just hyping them up, and just having conferences and stuff. I mean, I don't know. I you got like that kind of vibe, like
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
I love that.
because you got the gift for it. Like, I mean, the way you communicate, the way you engage people. You're not afraid to stand in front of a crowd, and you're already doing some of that already.
Yeah,
With the real estate stuff,
that's right.
all right?
Yeah.
I mean, you guys already doing things, and you're constantly in front of people. So
Yeah, I think I like that.
I think I could see you doing something like that.
I'd get into it eventually. I know one of the biggest things I did say, I'd love to travel the world and share this message.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, social media is one way of doing it, but there's nothing like, having, face to face, you get a room of people. I mean, I spoke at the gala, 750 people,
Mm-hmm.
the Hispanic Chamber. I've spoken in front of colleges, St. Mary, KU, 400 students, 500 students. So I've been in those positions, and I think maybe, politics and motivational speaking may be that segue. But yeah, I definitely would love to do that.
Well, you got to be able to deliver a speech if you're going to be a politic, right?
Oh my God, they're gonna come get me.
We've covered a lot, and honestly, we could sit here and talk for hours. I'm sure we can make a few episodes.
That's right.
With the amount of, insight and knowledge you got, man. I appreciate you so much coming through, but I definitely want to give you an opportunity if there was like anything else that we didn't cover, like, is there anything you can think of? Like, I'm like, man, I really wanted to cover this, but like, it's up to you. Like, I'm not sure exactly if there is anything.
No, I mean, really just, I want to lead and anyone watching, this episode to really take the opportunity to see where they're trying to be, feel it, and really just enhance that. Because I know I did that when I decided to drop out of college a couple of years ago. I went for 2 months and it's changed my life. I've now had the pleasure to be on podcasts like your guys's and share this message. And so to me, I live by 3 things: attract, educate, and empower. Attract the people that you want to run with, the people you want to work with, educate them. Let's all get to the same level of knowledge or more or greater, whatever that looks like, and empower each other. Yeah. With that, I truly believe life takes care of itself.
Yes.
100%. I love that message, man. I honestly do. And I think that I want to say, that I'm not speaking against education, right? Because it really depends on what you want to do with your life, whatever you're passionate about, right? If you always wanted to be a doctor, I always wanted to be a lawyer, you know what the trajectory is. You have to go to school, you got to do your thing, get your, but entrepreneurship sometimes doesn't require that, And I think where that the success curve sort of starts, when you venture into this, there's a lot of risk there. A lot of ups and downs, but I've heard time and time again where there is just a lot of self-fulfillment and reward on the other side of that journey. It's by no means easy, right? And so, definitely that. Before we close, there's something I want to gift you, if you allow me, and because I think that, do you believe in destiny?
I would say I do. Yeah,
you do
for sure.
And the reason I ask is because I feel like there is some of that, in life. Like I feel like the God orchestrates things in a certain way that we may not really understand, but we are predestined for something, right? Sometimes, and I feel like our name is tied to some of that because. That's one of the things that we really don't choose. Families, another one of those things where it's like, you don't choose that. That's sort of like what God is giving you and saying, hey, Jonathan, this is what I gifted you with. You got your name, you got your family, right? And there's something beautiful about that because it carries with you the rest of your life.
That's right.
And so I took the liberty to kind of find out what your name meant.
Oh, I like this. I already know what it is. Share it to me. Yes.
Yeah. So your name Jonathan actually comes from the Hebrew, and actually means gift of God. I don't know if you knew that, but what it says is at its core, Jonathan is a name of entrustment. It carries a sense that the person is not here by accident, nor only for personal ambition. Symbolically, Jonathan reflects someone whose life carries value beyond utility. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah. This name often carries an innate sense of responsibility, a feeling of being meant for something greater, even in the face of uncertainty, a natural inclination towards loyalty, integrity, and purpose. Jonathan energy is not flashy, it's principled. Historically and archetypically, it is associated with fidelity, moral alignment, choosing what is right over what is convenient. It suggests someone who measures decision against inner truth, not impulse. Pitallo, on the other hand, is actually Italian.
I didn't know that. I was going to ask you. I don't know that one.
Pitallo is Italian. And is symbolic meaning of grounding, embodiment, earthly present. While less common and more regionally specific, Pitallo functions energetically as a grounding surname. It tempers the idealism of moral weight of Jonathan by anchoring it in real-world action and lived experience. Symbolically, Pitallo adds practicality, embodiment of values rather than abstraction, connection to work, effort, and tangible results.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
The surname suggests that check this. The surname suggests that purpose is not meant to remain conceptual. Whatever Jonathan carries internally is meant to be applied, tested, and lived out in a material world.
Wow.
Okay. Integrated meaning. This is the overall integrated meaning of your name.
Yeah.
When read together, Jonathan Pitallo expresses an archetype of a person entrusted with value of insight, called to live it out with integrity, loyalty, and grounded action. This is not a name of constant reinvention or performance. It's a name of consistency and follow through. It implies moral responsibility without rigidity, purpose expressed through action, not rhetoric, leadership that comes from reliability rather than dominance.
Wow.
Why this matters, Jonathan Pitallo suggests someone who feels an inner obligation to live meaningfully, does not separate value from daily life, earns trust through alignment between words and action.
Wow, dude.
I want to send this to you so you can have it.
That's powerful. Thank you, man.
Yeah, no, I just thought it was cool because as I was reading this, I could see you.
Oh.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and it's just crazy because, like, I mean, I know you.
Yeah.
You know, I know of you. Like, we don't interact every day and
Right.
whatnot. But I certainly see you every so often, and I respect you. And you know, and as I'm reading this, it just seems like I just like got a glimpse at like you more, and I'm like. And it reflects that. Like, that's what I'm saying, though. But it's just as I'm reading, it's like this truth about who Jonathan Pitallo is.
Yeah. Thank you, man. To me, I mean, I looked at that and I saw a bunch of things. I was like, wow, I've heard like those things being said to me. So I've never had anyone really search up like the two names and see what it comes to be.
The archetype of your names is essentially what
archetype.
it is. Yeah.
I'm gonna start looking that up. That's awesome. Thank you, man.
But it comes from the origin of the name, and it comes from the translation of the name and what it means, because you didn't choose that name.
I didn't.
You didn't choose Jonathan Pitallo.
That's right.
Jonathan Pitallo chose you. God chose you. He knew you before, you know, when you were in the womb.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it's amazing how God works, that he designs us to this marvelous, you know, design of perfection, of like exactly how we're meant to be, how we are supposed to show up in this life. And it's simply just amazing that you're stepping into that part of you and embracing it and actually showing up in the world with that. And that's the reason why I feel that you've been able to do this quantum leap. And man, I wish you nothing but success in your journey. If we can ever help you in anything, you know, Ozone Lair, I'm here, you know what I'm saying, Rick, and we can collaborate in whatever way, man. Like I'm all about it. Creation and collaboration, man. That's what it's about.
Thank you guys. I mean, to me, this is what I love. And back to what that said a little bit, just like leaving with purpose. And to me, this was meant to happen today at this time and everything. And you know what you mentioned about you didn't share anything to anyone about that, and now you were able to get that out. And I don't know, I love this stuff, man. Thank you guys, really.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for unblocking that memory.
Yeah, that's right. We need to sometimes.
Yeah. I can finally clip it. There we go. There we go. We out or what?
That's it, man. Sign us out.
Right on, man. Well, if you tuned in this far, we appreciate you like always. Don't forget to subscribe. Ozone Lair. To the next one. See ya.
Signing out.
See ya.
Peace.
Woo! This is good. That's awesome, bro. Thank you guys. I could sit here for hours too.